Sunday, August 21st, Giants -5.5 at home against the Bengals. Over under is 38.5 here. What are you thinking with this game? Where are we going with this?
I think two teams that both showed some promise in and some issues as far as the first preseason game. I mean, the Bengals, obviously Joe Burrow's out with the appendectomy. Right. I doubt, he's probably not playing at all this preseason. They lost 36-23 at home to the Cardinals. Cardinals look pretty daggone good on offense. Bengals defense, not so much, but they did have a lot of guys out, a lot of first teamers out. Giants at the Patriots, they won but didn't cover 23-21. Both teams went over. I believe I think we said it was 13-3 to the over in week one. And the Hall of Fame game also went over. So tons of overs in week one. I think you've seen these lines all adjusted up a little bit. 38.5, I think, is probably more realistic because, I mean, you get in these low 30s nowadays. It's like it doesn't take much, a defensive score, special teams, and it's like it's an easy over. So I think that one you have to respect the total there. I'm staying away from that. To me, it's like my Bengals, they have nothing to play for except to stay healthy. I mean, it's like
rule number one.
Yeah, Zach Wilson went down. I think the notice went out to every GM, every owner, every coach. Just don't get our first and second string guys hurt, and let's keep people healthy. Joe Burrow, like I said, will be resting. Most of the first team on both sides of the ball for the Bengals are out. Now the Giants are a different story because they don't have. I mean, they have aspirations of Super Bowl, of playoffs.
Right.
Those aren't realistic expectations. This is a coaching staff, first-year coaching staff that's, hey, if we are close to – if they win 7, 8, 9 games, it's a heck of a year. And most importantly, they needed to find out, is Daniel Jones the guy? That's the question, because this is it for him. He's either going to get a contract renewal in the offseason or they're going to be drafting near the top of the draft, and they're going to be a very QB-rich draft next year. So, to me, I think you're going to see – for those reasons, you're going to see more starters play for the Giants than the Bengals. And they also have a good backup. Tyrod Taylor, we've seen he's not just a backup. This guy can play. He was a starter in several different spots in some bad situations, a punctured lung that cost him the Chargers.
Yeah.
The Texans, they had no offensive line, so he was hurt most of last year. So I think this is a guy that can – and I think he'll get some, they'll probably leave some of the first-string guys with him, maybe a series, just to see – so that he's ready to go if Daniel Jones isn't or gets injured. So I like the Giants a fair amount in this game. I think that 5.5 is very generous. I just don't think the Bengals can afford to take any risk here. And the Giants, they need to take those risks because they got to find out, how these young guys, they have a lot of young guys on this team. Can they play, or do we need to move on after this season? So let's take the Giants -5.5. They have the motivation. They're going to play more of the starters and the second-string guys longer. And if I was leaning, I would probably lean towards the over because this Bengals defense, as we saw last week, they were lit up. I think they'll do so, give up a bunch again this week. So, but my much better play, take the Giants -5.5.
I think you hit the nail on the head here with the separation of teams. I mean, let's be honest, 32 teams in the NFL, there's two different tiers, really. There's the guys that know they're there and know that they will compete. And then there's the teams that are trying to get into that other tier and compete. The Giants, they need as many reps as possible, where the Bengals just want to make sure they're number one, stay healthy. The Giants, I predicted, I said this earlier on a show with Allie Burns from Morningwood. I said, I don't think Daniel Jones is a starter, say, week 8, halfway through that season-ish. I think Tyrod takes that job. I hope it's not injury. Never wish that upon a player. But I think Tyrod can take that job from Daniel Jones. And if he does, now you're looking at, like you said, a quarterback-rich friendly draft next year. The Giants are right back in the top 5 draft.
But the thing is, do you put, if you set Daniel Jones, it's over. You can't, sometimes you'll set a guy that's like a first-year player. You're like, hey, try to get some wins. Let him set you set Daniel Jones, it's over. This guy is time in the Giants is over. So I think he might actually get a few more weeks of the season.
Okay.
Because let's be honest, if they're switching to Tyrod Taylor, the season's probably already over. I mean, they're probably 2-6, 2-5. The season's over. And it's like, okay, what are we know what Tyrod Taylor can do. It's probably not enough wins to, this coaching staff's not trying to save their jobs. I mean, they have usually you get a couple years. So I think we'll see Tyrod Taylor this year towards the end, maybe week 10, 11, 12. And then it'll be his team from now on out. I hope not. I hope Daniel Jones can prove something. And we've seen the glimpses. but it's
Little
just not
bit.
been consistent. It's not been consistent, and
Not
too many
even a little.
turnovers.
Yeah.
Not enough accuracy. So yeah, but I do
And
think
he's
against
got
the Bengals
weapons.
second. I think the second string. I mean that they do have, like you said, they do have some weapons. I think they'll put up some numbers this week. But buyer beware. What you do in the preseason means very little in the NFL.
Zero. Hey, case in point, Exhibit A, the Detroit Lions, 4-0 in preseason, 0-16. That's all I'm going to say about that. All right, so